Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this Wednesday edition of Reporter's Notebook. It's been quite some time since we've done a Reporter's Notebook here in the digital studio, but we're trying to bring it back as we're filling out those festival lists, filling those up for the upcoming months. So today we are joined in studio by Miss Claire Molle. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Emily?
I am doing good. I'm trying not to there's little hairs flying in front of me, and I'm trying not to breathe them in, choke on it. How are you doing today? It's been quite a hectic I'd say 24 hours for you, really covering elections last night and, as the results were coming in. So it's been quite a hectic 12 hours for you guys. So talk to us, first of all, about last night. We did some election coverage of some midterm elections, some municipal elections. So talk to me about how that went, first off.
Yeah, last night was rough, but it was fun. So it was a tough night, but I went home feeling really good about it and excited still, and a lot of adrenaline. Because you don't necessarily expect that kind of excitement from local elections. But I started out in Pitt County, talking to the Board of Elections about voter turnout, just kind of some logistics and stuff like that. That was kind of a nice way to warm up the night. And I learned a lot. We were expecting a huge turnout, and he said there really wasn't as big of a turnout as they were thinking on election day. But the turnout for the early voting was so huge. We actually still had a higher number of voters than we've seen in 2014 or 2018, which is pretty amazing. And they're not quite sure yet why we had such a huge early voting turnout. But they're still looking through those numbers and working on that. So that was interesting. And then I headed down to Craven County to cover the New Bern mayoral race, which was super interesting. They had 4 candidates this year, which is unheard of. It's also interesting because the current mayor, Dana Outlaw, he did not run for re-election. So that's kind of interesting as well. So one of these 4 new people is taking over for him. And it became very obvious very quickly that there were 2 front runners. We had a New Bern alderman, Jeffrey Odom, and then we had a retired police chief, Toussaint Summers. They were head to head. And so I was in the car, writing scripts and editing, and it was looking like Summers was going to win. And then Odom really pulled ahead. And so you're kind of watching side to side, and you're watching those polls butt up against each other. And, going into the 10 o'clock show, you have to be ready to say something. And either one of them could have won or they could have not called it yet. And it was really exciting. About 10 minutes before our 10 o'clock show, Summers said he won by 1 vote. And so that was really, really exciting. So it was fun to get that interview with him, and the energy was high. He was so excited to be winning by that 1 vote. And it's also interesting because that means, that race is not over, because that's most likely going to go to runoff. I did talk to Odom today, and he said if he remains the second place candidate after the election is certified, after they count all the ballots that have not been counted yet, any of outstanding ballots, if he's still the second place candidate, he is most likely going to request that runoff. So that'll be exciting as well. That will take place July 26th. And then yesterday I also had a chance to speak to Don Davis right after he won his seat. And so that was really exciting. Got on Zoom with him in the parking lot, and that's just an interesting thing about reporting too, is you're outside one polling site and you're talking to one candidate, and then you're on Zoom talking to someone else. And it was fascinating and exciting, but a lot of fun, and I learned a lot as I went too. So
Oh yeah, and you were telling me earlier I'm pretty sure it was the race where it was, 1 vote kind of decided the whole thing, that you were saying, you kind of had a couple different scripts ready to go because you didn't know what the outcome was going to be, and it was very fast paced. You had to be ready within a couple minutes to talk about what just happened. So you were telling me earlier, and I thought that was so cool and so smart of you to do, to have 3 different scripts ready to go based on what the results were going to be. And that's just kind of part of our job. We got to have some backups, and we got to have some different options if things turn around a different way. So I thought that was really cool that you were explaining that.
Well, yeah, I was sitting in the car, kind of, you're waiting for polls to come in, and everything's going to happen at once. And so I'm like, it could go one way, it could go the other way, or it could go neither way. So here's an outline, and it did end up 2 minutes before live on air, I'm sitting there typing out really quick, making sure what I had ended up being accurate. So In the moment, it was really stressful, but because it worked out, it was fun after it was over.
I
Well,
bet.
let's do it again.
I know. And some of you guys got in real late last night because you guys really were working all throughout the night as these results were coming in, which is so awesome. And segueing into today, you're kind of covering similar things, kind of a follow up to what happened yesterday. So talk to us about what some of the new information you learned today, because you went back and spoke with, again, some of the winners of these results and some of the candidates for these elections.
Yeah, so today, I thought, well, it's a perfect day to do a recap and a follow up on the election. I think, after election day, there are still those provisional ballots, which is what I was referring to earlier, saying they're outstanding. That I talked to the Board of Elections in Onslow County today, and he explained that as just for whatever reason, those ballots were not cast on voting day, so staff will go through them and decide which ones are valid and going to be counted and which ones won't. But because of things like that, the election will get certified later this month. So that was interesting, and that's called canvassing when they go back through and actually certify everything. So talking to the Board of Elections about that, and also, their process of making sure that these elections are really, really accurate, and they're very, very passionate about people understanding that the results of these elections need to be trusted, and you're welcome behind the scenes. There's poll watchers, and he really emphasized that if you have any questions about how an election works or election integrity, to volunteer to work at a poll, and you will see for yourself, he says, just how much scrutiny there is and accuracy there really is. Then I got a chance to talk to Mayor Connolly following his win. Mayor PJ Connolly, who is the current mayor of Greenville, and he just won for a second time last night. And he's super excited for another 2 years. Very positive vibe, talking about infrastructure, and he wants to create more jobs here. He wants to keep Greenville fun and a lot of economic development. So that was a great conversation. And we also talked about Liz Lyles, who he was running against, who did not win last night, but he was saying, she's done fantastic work in the community, and he really hopes that continues, wishes her the best. That was a great conversation. And then since I had a chance to talk to Toussaint Summers last night when he had just pulled through, I reached out to Alderman Odom today to get his reaction on that very, very close race. And he said, this was over email, but he said that there are still enough provisional ballots that he believes the race could turn. He could end up in first place, and Summers could end up in second place. That's his belief. But he, it was interesting to talk to him and hear his perspective, that he said, yeah, if he does come in second after that certification, he really does want to go to that runoff. So, it was nice to get a chance to talk to the other side of things today and kind of hear about some of those other candidates, because in the moment you just get so caught up in everything. So it's great to have a chance to go back and kind of revisit a few things.
Definitely. I love how you use the word recap. I think that was the perfect word to describe. You did a whole recap of what happened last night, and I think that's really awesome and kind of boils it down to the basics for a lot of people who might not understand the polling process, the election process in general, and maybe how, these votes are counted, or how these, runoffs go, or how these canvassing events go. A lot of people might not know that. So I think this was really awesome to kind of break it down to the basics and explain what goes on when we have these type of elections. So I think that was super awesome, Claire. And what have you got going on this past week? I mean, the weather's back and beautiful. We had some rainy days last week, and 70s and cold, and it's back to 80s and beautiful this week. So I'm loving it.
I am too. I want to be outside. I've been thinking about elections all week now, which has been fun. I like elections and political science and things like that. So it's been fun, but I can't wait to get outside and enjoy the weather. I might try tonight to get out and enjoy it for a couple hours. Oh, yeah. We'll see. Hopefully that'll work out.
Absolutely. Well, everybody get out and enjoy this weather while you can, because it is beautiful, and we might have some thunderstorms rolling in, some weather rolling in the next couple of days. So definitely try to enjoy it while we can.
Oh, I wish it would last forever.
I know, really. And then we're going to have like 90 degrees, I think, like Saturday, which is going to be like insane. So, Greenville.
Well, that's when you get to go to the pool or the beach, so I can probably deal with that.
There you go. You know what? No complaints here.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thanks so much, Claire, for taking the time out of your day to join us for this Reporter's Notebook and explain a little backstory about the story you covered yesterday and today. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching another edition of Reporter's Notebook, and we'll see you next time.